muchísimas gracias a todos que están tomando este tiempo para unirse con nosotros a esta Masterclass con Jaiker Soto sobre los procesos de producción en Puerto Rico, organizado por Rare Spirit Society. Y, y bueno, primero no reglas, pero como que para que sepan pues de que en cualquier momento que alguien tenga una pregunta, siéntanse libres de interrumpir. Hiker quiere que eso sea, que no sea un monólogo, sino que sea interactivo y que todos participemos. De todas maneras, también pueden escribir sus preguntas en el chat y Luigi va a estar pendiente para acumular las preguntas y de vez en cuando eh, interrumpir pues y responder esas preguntas. Bueno, como me imagino que ya saben, con la información que mandamos, estamos con Rare Spirit Society haciendo este tipo de masterclasses por ahora 2 veces a la semana, el primer miércoles y el tercer miércoles de cada mes, más o menos a esta hora. Y así que recibirán información pues para unirse a las próximas clases, que ya tenemos una con Pedro para diciembre, con Pedro Perales y Miriam está por ahí. Quisiéramos, que no lo hemos concertado, pero para ver si hacemos un tour virtual de Uruapan, Casa Tarasco en México. Nos encantaría, así que Miriam, ojalá que...
Claro, cuando
ojalá que
quieran.
sí. Y bueno, para dar una pequeña intro de Hiker y después le pasamos el micrófono a Fede para que dé unas palabras sobre Puerto Rico, pero bueno, primero que todo, vamos a darle la bienvenida a Jaiker Soto, que bueno, Jaiker, para dar un poquito de introducción, información sobre él, para los que no lo conocen, él es un ingeniero químico con más de 20 años de experiencia en la industria del ron. Él ha trabajado para varias destilerías importantes, tanto en Venezuela, Panamá, Puerto Rico, incluyendo todas las partes de la producción del ron, pero al mismo tiempo ha hecho también consultorías en destilerías en Panamá, Costa Rica, El Salvador, como también partícipe como speaker y de judge en conferencias internacionales en Estados Unidos, Francia, Alemania, Reino Unido, España, Colombia, México y hoy aquí internacional. Este, y bueno, hoy va a estar dando una clase sobre la producción, los procesos de producción en Puerto Rico, donde también él ha trabajado. Y antes de pasarle el micrófono a él, Fede, no sé si quieras, ya que está hablando de tu país, de tu tierra, quisieras decir algunas palabras. Además que estamos aquí, yo estoy aquí en el Tea Punch con Darrell, el bartender de Tea Punch. Así que, Fede.
Oye, genial. Pues ahorita hay que enseñar un video de T-Punch para que la gente pueda ver un poquito algunas de las referencias que tenemos. Y de ella, obviamente, tenemos algunas referencias de rones puertorriqueños, que es una de las misiones de siempre promover y educar todas las categorías de ron, pero sin lugar a dudas los rones puertorriqueños es en mi corazón. El ron puertorriqueño, aquí tenemos dos marcas, Bacardí y Don Q, cual Hiker va a utilizar, y por eso estamos sacando esta expresión aquí un momentito. Muy bien, Hiker. Y Puerto Rico, güey, pues yo digo que los rones puertorriqueños pues han sido fundamentales en muchas partes de la categoría de ron para ayudar a algo que todos nosotros nos beneficiamos hoy en día alrededor del mundo. ¿Y por qué digo esto? Porque Puerto Rico, en adición a haber sido de los primeros sitios, bueno, uno de los primeros sitios que se puso muy popular para la categoría de ron en Estados Unidos con la producción de ron cuando pasaron los años de la prohibición, y luego de la prohibición que se abren las puertas, viene la otra guerra y la mayoría de los rones que se importaban a Estados Unidos eran rones puertorriqueños. Pues en ese transcurso también se empieza a desarrollar la idea de hacerle unos rones con unos standards que hoy en día se conocen como denominación de origen, que nosotros incluso en Puerto Rico tenemos unas reglas, unas leyes, no se reconocen como denominación de origen, simplemente son unos estándares para que un buen ron pueda cualificar y nosotros nos podamos disfrutar. Sí, somos del estilo ron liviano, porque inicialmente es una isla que utilizábamos alambique, pues con el progreso nos transformamos con el movimiento que hubo global en un momento utilizar column stills, ¿verdad? Columnas, y que tienen sus otros beneficios. Desarrollamos pues pudimos hacer y perfeccionar diferentes rones espectaculares de ese estilo. Y para eso está Jaiker, ¿verdad? Que lo conocí trabajando él en Serrayé y ha participado en un momento de la empresa, lo enviaba a casi todos mis eventos en Estados Unidos para darle una charla sobre la educación de la categoría de ron de Puerto Rico. Jaiker, te dejo aquí en buenas manos. Gracias.
Pues gracias, Antonio, gracias, Federico, por la introducción. Pues sí, efectivamente, lo podemos decir sin ningún problema para completar el intro que hizo Antonio. He tenido la oportunidad de trabajar para pequeñas, medianas y grandes destilerías de ron en Centroamérica, en Sudamérica y el Caribe. Ron Santa Teresa en mi tierra natal, Venezuela. Allí me formé, comenzaron mis inicios. Luego como maestro ronero en Ron Cartavieja en Panamá y finalmente en Destilería Serrayés bajo la marca Don Q y otras marcas locales, siendo su maestro ronero. Hoy en día soy consultor de la industria, asesorando diferentes destilerías de ron y de otros espíritus destilados, porque hoy en día pues la diversidad del mercado ha llevado, la diversificación global ha llevado a trabajar en otros espíritus como vodka, ginebra y whisky. Así que sin más preámbulos vamos a comenzar hoy con esta masterclass, como les dijo Antonio, que sea dinámica. Vamos a trabajar en la educación. La educación en esta categoría es muy importante porque sencillamente tenemos que trabajar en aras de tumbar muchos mitos, tumbar leyendas, en tumbar historias de camino que le hacen daño o le han hecho y le siguen haciendo daño a la categoría. Y el ron no es esa bebida espirituosa que consume el borracho de la esquina, con todo el respeto que se pueda merecer el señor borracho, pero no, no es así. El ron no tiene nada que envidiarle a un buen whisky escocés, no tiene que envidiarle nada a un buen jerez español, no tiene que envidiarle nada a un bourbon de Estados Unidos, ni tiene que envidiarle nada a un buen coñac francés, porque sencillamente se elabora con los mismos métodos, con los mismos equipos y con los mismos barriles que se elaboran estos otros espíritus destilados añejados que tienen un gran prestigio a nivel mundial, pero sencillamente se cambia la materia prima. Así que yo siempre he dicho que el ron es un gran partícipe, es un gran protagonista de los destilados a nivel global y por eso debemos seguir educando al mundo para que esta categoría siga creciendo y llevarla a niveles superiores. Procesos de elaboración de ron, una perspectiva desde Puerto Rico. ¿Por qué? Porque quiero mostrar un poco los trasbastidores de lo que del proceso de elaboración del ron que se sigue en la isla y darles desde otra óptica cómo podemos llevar un proceso de producción del ron siguiendo unos patrones, unos estándares y llegar a unos líquidos finales con una calidad de clase mundial. Vamos a hablar de historia, vamos a hablar un poco de procesos, vamos a hablar de materias primas, vamos a hablar de estándares y finalmente vamos a cerrar con una evaluación sensorial para la cual invitamos a la audiencia a tener dos rones Los recomendados fueron Don Q Reserva 7 y Bacardí Reserva 8 por ser rones que tienen características similares en cuanto a su proceso de producción de dos casas productoras diferentes y que pueden tener similitudes, pero también pueden tener diferencias. Así que eso lo vamos a dejar al final y ustedes mismos van a participar conmigo de esta experiencia sensorial. Bueno, comencemos a preguntarle a la audiencia. ¿Quién ha escuchado? ¿Qué es lo que primero se les viene a la cabeza cuando escuchan la palabra ron? Quiero una participación rápida, una palabra de 3 o 4 personas que me digan que a primera, al brinco, al segundo, ¿qué piensan sobre ron? En una palabra.
Caribe.
Rum is fun.
Tabaco.
Muy bien, Caribe, diversión, tabaco.
Caña,
Diversidad.
caña de azúcar.
Diversidad, caña de azúcar. Muy bien, muy bien. Excelente, me gusta. Me gusta porque cuando pensamos en ron, definitivamente vamos a pensar en Caribe, en caña de azúcar, en tabaco, en diversión, pero también pensamos en almacenes de añejamiento, pensamos en piratas, pensamos en una buena piña colada en la orilla de la playa o un buen daiquiri con los amigos en una buena fiesta o una copa balón con un ron extrañejo pareado con un habano. Así que hay muchas cosas que nos llevan a pensar de lo que es ron. Pero, muy bien lo dijeron, caña de azúcar. No podemos hablar de ron sin antes hablar de la caña de azúcar. ¿Por qué? Porque la caña de azúcar sencillamente es la madre del ron. Esta gramínea es la precursora de toda la magia que sucede hacia adelante. Esta gramínea tiene la bendición de producir los azúcares más elegantes que posteriormente van a transformarse en el alcohol, que posteriormente se va a transformar en ron. Así que la naturaleza, la divina providencia, nos ha dado la oportunidad de tener a esta planta que sencillamente probarla es una maravilla por su dulzura. Probar un tallo de caña, morderlo y paladearlo, te lleva a una experiencia sensorial única. Así que, pues, gracias a la caña tenemos ron. Pero, ¿cómo llegó la caña a estos lados del mundo, a lo que se considera el Nuevo Mundo? Pues estamos hablando de, resumidas cuentas, la caña no es originaria del Caribe, la caña no es originaria de América, la caña es una planta que llegó a nuestro mundo por una serie de sucesos históricos, por una serie de situaciones durante la formación de la civilización, de diferentes civilizaciones en diferentes partes del viejo mundo. Y la caña sencillamente es originaria de Micronesia, en el sureste asiático, Papúa Nueva Guinea, muy lejos de acá, pero con una condición particular, un clima tropical en aquel lado del mundo. La caña es una planta, es una gramínea que necesita dos factores fundamentales para poder crecer. Es lluvia y es temperatura, es sol. Así que la caña de azúcar se desarrolló en aquel lado del mundo y siguió esta ruta que ustedes pueden ver en ese mapa. Se dice que la caña tiene sus orígenes hace más de 8.000 años antes de Cristo. Y ¿cómo pudiéramos resumir que llegó acá? Pues muchos factores. Estamos hablando de movimientos de población, conquistas, imperios, movimientos de guerras, bloqueos, matanzas, matanzas religiosas, matanzas raciales. Podemos también hablar de invasiones, que fue la más famosa la invasión mora a España, pero fíjense que las cruzadas también tuvieron su influencia allí, y en resumidas cuentas, la caña ha llegado a América por un señor visionario que fue delegado en ir a buscar especias al Viejo Mundo tras el bloqueo de Constantinopla en el siglo XIV. Así que este señor, llamado Cristóbal Colón, llegó a América con caña de azúcar y con una serie de intercambios mercantiles para llevar de nuevo a España y a Europa las famosas especies que habían perdido su trazabilidad desde Asia hacia Europa por el camino tradicional que seguían históricamente. Así que gracias a Cristóbal Colón, gracias a los reyes católicos, pues la caña de azúcar pudo llegar al nuevo continente, a lo que se definía en aquel momento, al Nuevo Mundo. Cristóbal Colón llega a América en el 1492 en su primer viaje, pero no es sino hasta el 1493 cuando él hace su primera parada en La Española, hoy en día República Dominicana y Haití, y allí llega ya con caña de azúcar que valga la acotación, traída desde las Islas Canarias, porque los reyes católicos de España consiguieron en estas islas, dada su proximidad a los trópicos, un sitio idóneo para poder cosecharla, cultivarla y cosecharla y poder producir azúcar. Esta gramínea no tuvo éxito en España continental, así que pues Cristóbal Colón llevó en su segundo viaje la caña de azúcar a América. En el 1493, valga la acotación, Cristóbal Colón hace también una parada técnica en Puerto Rico. Así que la caña de azúcar llegó a Puerto Rico también en el 1490. Y rápidamente la caña comenzó a expandirse por todo el Caribe. Cristóbal Colón tuvo su tercer viaje, tuvo su cuarto viaje, tocó Venezuela, tocó Panamá, lo que era en aquel momento el Istmo de Panamá. Así que pues la caña comenzó a expandirse rápidamente por todo el Caribe y comenzó a convertirse en un instrumento de intercambio económico muy importante, dado que de la caña se producía azúcar. La producción de ron fue, como muchos descubrimientos científicos, fue un descubrimiento al azar. Podemos hablar un poco de historia, que durante el siglo XVII las plantaciones de caña de azúcar se expandieron en todo el Caribe. Estamos hablando que no solamente en estas colonias españolas, sino también en colonias inglesas y francesas, e inclusive colonias portuguesas y también colonias holandesas, porque portugueses y holandeses fueron grandes navegantes y lograron llegar y traernos tecnología. Eh, Estas civilizaciones que venían del viejo mundo, estos navegantes en busca de nuevas oportunidades, ya no estábamos hablando de ir a buscar especias en Asia. Ya cuando todos estos navegantes siguen el periplo de Cristóbal Colón, que hay un nuevo mundo y quieren investigar qué hay más allá, pues vienen en busca de muchas cosas. En primer lugar, de libertad, de establecerse en nuevas tierras, de buscar nuevas oportunidades, de buscar riquezas, porque para nadie es un secreto que muchos de los motivos que movieron a los reinos de Europa hacia la América fue la búsqueda de oro, plata y otras piedras preciosas que servían para aumentar las arcas de los reyes en Europa, de los reinos. Entonces, tenemos movimientos históricos, movimientos culturales, movimientos sociales que llevaron al establecimiento de un sistema en América y en el Caribe. Y este sistema fue un sistema económico donde el azúcar fue parte importante. El Caribe, alrededor de 1700, comienzan a producirse los destilados de melaza. Y la, la caña de azúcar, y por temas históricos, se establece en el Caribe como un movimiento agrícola extensivo, es decir, grandes cantidades de hectáreas cubiertas de caña de azúcar, para la cual se necesitaba una mano de obra interesante, y esa mano de obra fue traída de África. Los movimientos de esclavos traídos de África, que se intercambiaban por diferentes monedas de trueque. Los esclavos eran intercambiados por vino, bueno, no habíamos comenzado a hablar de ron todavía, eran intercambiados por vinos, eran intercambiados por azúcar, eran intercambiados por especias, por lo que tuvieses para llevar a África y traer a un grupo de personas, hombres y mujeres, al Nuevo Mundo para hacer el trabajo intensivo de corte de caña de azúcar para producción del azúcar que iba a ser posteriormente enviada a Europa. Estos esclavos comenzaron a tomar el jugo de la caña como un líquido hidratante. En primer lugar, porque la caña de azúcar es 85% agua y 15% de azúcares aproximadamente. Pero también el contenido de azúcar, por ser un carbohidrato, ayudaba a mantener al trabajador alimentado, digamos, alimentado e hidratado para soportar las grandes jornadas, largas jornadas de trabajo durante el día, un sol inclemente, en el corte de la caña de azúcar. Así que se convirtió el jugo de la caña en un instrumento para que los esclavos pudieran sobrevivir. Pero este jugo de caña fermentaba espontáneamente y se convertía en una bebida fermentada con un contenido alcohólico que para la época era un poco desconocido, pero era una medicina y era una bebida que enaltecía, elevaba el espíritu, ayudaba a curar penas, ayudaba a mantenerse activo y por sobre todas las cosas, the slavery people began to drink the fermented juice of the cane to gain hydration and as a medicine in order to elevate the spirit and to heal the bad moment they are facing in the long journeys, cutting the cane, make the work in order to have this crop available for a future production of sugar. So the first sugarcane juices were extracted in Barbados around 1650, and it's all began with the precursors of the rum. The famous Kill Devil or rum bouillon, this famous first fermented beverage, which origin was the sugarcane juice and spontaneous fermentation process. The rum bouillon was the origin of the Spanish term rum and French rum. So right now we can have the privilege to name our spirit in three different forms, depending on the language that we are speaking. Very quickly, the rum was exported to Europe. We need to point that the Dutch conquerors brought the distillate equipments to the islands, the Dutch-speaking Caribbean islands that were conquered by these Dutch sailors. And the first distillation equipment were introduced by them and were quickly traded with the English-speaking islands, specifically Barbados, when the first rums distillate, not fermented beverage, distillate, the first distillate were produced in Barbados around 1650. Very quickly, the rum was exported to Europe as a currency. The rum gained a lot of importance in the trading businesses around the Caribbean. The distillation processes were improved in order to gain quality and gain flavors, in order to purify the hardness of the distillate and to produce a more palatable and drinkable as a try and error effect in this scientific method, the rum was exported to Europe in barrels, and the aging process was discovered because when the raw distillate was put into the barrel, it was crystal clear, it was rough, it was very strong, but after 6 months in the ship, with the movement of the sea, with the saltiness of the water, with the breeze, the salty breeze, the distillate began to transform into a more palatable, a more refined, a very smooth liquid. When it was tried by people in Europe, they were so impressed about the quality of our rum. So the production was expanded to all the Caribbean, South America, and Central America. So quickly, what is in the name? Rum, rum bouillon, kill devil, rum. But definitely the origins of the rum was a burnt and an oily liquid, unpleasant, with an odor that was intense, with a bitter taste, hot and infernal. So these are not very beautiful words or terms to define a liquid, but this was the origin, and right now we have the privilege to have a very refined spirit thanks to the evolution of the technology, the production process, and for sure the techniques that we are using nowadays. Today, what is the rum? Rum is a universal spirit. It is manufactured in 60 countries on 5 continents around the world. The rum has a birth certificate, definitely. The rum is Caribbean. The rum was born here in the Caribbean. But right now, it is produced around the world following different techniques, different methods, different regulations, different laws, and in fact, different definitions. The only thing that it is consumed worldwide in the most diverse way, but it's the only one universal agreement for rum. Must be produced only from sugarcane or any byproduct of the sugarcane production. Sugarcane juice, sugar honey, sugar molasses. This is the only point that we are all agreed, and well, that's why rum is diverse. We must define rum. What is rum? According with the United States Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Standards of Identity definition. Rum is an alcoholic distillate obtained from the fermented sugarcane juice, sugarcane syrup, sugarcane molasses, or other sugarcane byproduct. Produced at least 190 proof in such a manner that this distillate possesses the taste, aroma, and characteristics generally attributed to rum. What it means? Rum must be taste like rum and bottled at not less than 80 proof, so 40% of alcohol by volume. And the rum must include mixtures solely of such distillates. So you cannot introduce in the blend distillates from corn, distillates from grapes, distillates from agave. No, just only can blend distillates from sugarcane in order to be defined as a rum. So this is the USA definition of rum. Why I am giving you the definition of rum according with the federal regulation? Just because Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the United States of America, and Puerto Rico must follow the federal regulations in order to produce rum and define rum in order to be exported to the United States. Well, the rum capital of the world is Puerto Rico. A lot of history, a lot of movement, a lot of events that happening after Cristobal Colon or Christopher Columbus arrived to America. Puerto Rico used to be an Spanish colony. It belonged to the new settlements of Spain in America. But a lot of events happens after that moment in 1493 when Christopher Columbus in the second voyage arrived to La Española and Puerto Rico introduced the sugarcane in America. It is known that by 1508, the sugarcane became the major crop in Puerto Rico with the settlement of many plantations. So Puerto Rico expanded the production of sugarcane exponentially. In all the island, Puerto Rico is the smallest of the bigger Antilles, but extensively in the whole territory, the sugarcane plantations were rapidly settled. After the conquer process, the conquer movement, the different events between the 15th century and the 18th century, Puerto Rico belonged to the Spanish crown as a territory in the Caribbean. But there is an event that happened at the end of the 18th, specifically the Hispanic-American War. Around 1895, when Spain and the United States had a war to fight for different territories in Caribbean and around the world. Finally, the United States won the war. Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Philippines, Guam became war treasures. So United States took control of these different territories, but the Cuba claimed its independence, and Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines became territories incorporated to the Union. And that's why right now, nowadays, Puerto Rico is still a Commonwealth of the United States and is still following some regulations of the federal government. This is a very important historic fact that defines the influence in the rum production, because for me, the production of rum in Puerto Rico, considering there is a former Spanish colony, ex-colony, but with the introduction of the Commonwealth definition as a form of government in Puerto Rico, the blend of the two influence is defining right now in the 2024 the rum production. After the Hispano-American War, where Puerto Rico began to produce rums, following the Spanish influence, sugarcane molasses, continuous distillation, some producers using batch distillation, a lot of production of rum in the island, the main market, the United States, considering the agreements in order to export rums from the island to the continent. But something happened, the prohibition. in 1922 until 1933, during 11 years, the United States government voted to restrict the production of rum in the United States and its territories, but not the consumption. Interesting, right? Only the production. Well, a lot of smugglers took control of the business. A lot of, well, you know, Al Pacino, Al Capone in Chicago, and a lot of other smugglers around the Union began to introduce rums in the United States, mainly from the Caribbean. From following the rum trading routes in ships from the Caribbean to the Gulf of Mexico and getting into the United States through Florida and the East Coast, mainly New York, New Jersey, harbors. Well, from Canada, they started to introduce Canadian whiskey to the northern part of the continent, of the country. By the West Coast, pisco mainly from Peru, and also agave distillates in the border that is near to Mexico, California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. So the Union was flanked by different spirits depending of the geographical location in the continent. But the rum definitely gained some advantage in the southern states of the Union. Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and then they started to move northern in order to be distributed by the smugglers, I mean, in the whole Union. The prohibition finished in 1933, and well, the industrialization of rum started in Puerto Rico. The first production of rum began with using pot stills made in copper. Most of the producers at the end of the 18th started to produce rum using this kind of technology, ron del barrilito, and that's the most important and the precursor of the rum production in the island. But after the prohibition, in 1934, these companies switched to continuous distillation. So the industrialization of the rum production began. And right now, Puerto Rico is very important because it's a Caribbean island. Well, I mean, these are key factors that because the rum, the geographical location of the Puerto Rico is very unique in the Caribbean. So Puerto Rico is a Caribbean island immersed in the Great Antilles. The unique tropical weather conditions with high temperatures during the day and low temperatures at night, delta variance in temperatures is very unique in order to promote aging. By that days, I mean, beginning of the 19th, it was very important for the sugarcane production. Right now in Puerto Rico, there is no sugarcane production. All the sugar is imported from Florida and Louisiana. But at the beginning of the 20th century, it was very important, the delta in temperatures in order to produce sugarcane of the highest quality, and also to promote transformations, reactions into the barrels in considering the aging process that the alcohol must follow. Puerto Rico is known by to be a producer of fine alcohol through batch fermentation processes and continuous distillation processes, which constitute the basis of exceptional aging And the average annual temperature is around 30 Celsius, with stable relative humidity that influence the intense aging and give the rum a well-defined body. Well, let's talk about the making process. We must start with molasses. Water is very important. We are going to follow a fermentation process. Most of them, the totality of the fermentation process in Puerto Rico are batch fermentation. There is no continuous fermentation processes in the island. We must follow the distillation process in order to separate the alcohol that were previously produced in the fermentation stage. And then we have aging using barrels, oak barrels. I'm not pointed any particular type of barrel. I'm not talking about exclusively American white oak or European oak. It's just oak barrels. Then we have filtration, and then we have blending and bottling. This is a flow chart. It's a generic company. Each rum factory is going to follow different trends, different equipments, different layout, internal layout in each process box, in order to give the brand a particular DNA of self authenticity and identity that is very, very unique in this particular brand. Well, the water is the most important aspect in the rum production, because 80% of the rum production consume water. Puerto Rico is a beautiful island. It's unbelievable that in this small island with high mountains, they have a lot of rivers, they have a lot of aquifers, they have a lot of wells, and the water quality is very unique. The water supply in Puerto Rico is not an issue. We can have water, fresh water from different origins. In the most of the factories in Puerto Rico use river supply water, but other factories have the rights of obtain the water from wells, and wells that they can use for the water consumption. All other factories are using rainwater that is purified. It's a very interesting process. So the water is not an issue. In fact, it's a blessing to have a lot of aquifers, natural springs, in order to obtain the best quality in this important aspect. The molasses. Most of the factories in Puerto Rico right now are using molasses. Why? In Puerto Rico, at the late 18th, the early 19th, the sugarcane production was so important. So after the production of sugar, the sugarcane mill gave to the distillers the opportunity to have different type of molasses with beautiful concentration of sugar, or with high purity, with the best condition and the best variables to obtain very high quality alcohol. But what is happening right now? Right now, Puerto Rico is no longer producing sugarcane. So there is a minimal production, only very small plantations. In fact, there is only one rum producer right now, which is Rompepon in the north part of the island, that is producing a state-produced rum from fresh sugarcane juice. It is the only one. Most of the bigger players, mainly Bacardi, Serrayes, Caribbean distillers, right now are using different type of molasses. I test molasses, what it means, grade A molasses, only with one extraction of sugar. And black extract molasses, which is more diverse in different producers, which is the grade C or grade D molasses after 3 or 4 extraction of sugar. It varies. It varies because the price, remember, molasses is a commodity. As a commodity, the price change in the market is going to be variable. It's going to be oriented by the demand, and if the demand is higher in sugar, so the price in sugar is going to be higher. Most of the sugarcane mills are going to extract a lot of sugar that they can in the production in order to let the molasses very exhausted. So the price in molasses is going to be high, but also the concentration of sugar is going to be low. The opposite way, when the price of sugar is low, the sugarcane mills are going to sell you high test molasses and black extract molasses with high concentration of sugar, but with a higher price, because the price of the molasses is defined by the price of the sugar in the international market. Most of the producers are using molasses between 84 to 86 Brix with total sugars between 54 and 60%, with a high purity up to 42%, with a low concentration of ash, which is a very important point because it is going to reduce the scaling in the fermenters and in the distillation equipment, and looking for a high yield of around 250 and 290 absolute liter of absolute alcohol per ton of molasses processed. The fermentation, most of the producers in the island are using proprietary yeast. What it means, they isolated a particular strain of yeast in the sugarcane plantations, and the yeast is well preserved in the microbiology laboratory, and the yeast is duplicated in using an anaerobic fermentation process, control process, where the sugar concentration and the concentration of alcohol is controlled in this pilot fermentation, not to produce alcohol, but to produce mass, so to reproduce the yeast. And the yeast is later inoculate in the ferment. Most of them are using short fermentation for light rum production, between 40 and 44 hours, and long fermentation up to 4 weeks for heavy rums. Most of the producers in the island used to have light and heavy rums production in columns, and also in pot still, but the pot still production is particularly used by very limited quantity of producers. The distillation process for production of light rum, multiple column system, most of them 5 stills, because we're going to have the pure column, the hydroselective column, the heads and tails column, the rectifying column, and finally the demethylizer column for the removal of methanol. This is a very important point, because it's the typical profile of light rum that Puerto Rico is producing after the prohibition. A very light rum as a base rum for the rum. But they are also producing heavy rum. Most of them in single column system, but also in pot stills. Aging. I told you before, no matter what, your rum must be aged for minimal of 1 year in oak barrels in the island to be called Puerto Rican rum. This is part of the standard, geographical standards of the Puerto Rican rum definition. We're going to talk about later about that, and we're going to point particular, very important, 4 key points of the rum production in order to be called Puerto Rican rum. And then when you want to produce a particular style of rum, mainly white rums, you can filtrate using charcoal. You can let your rum to rest in big tanks in order to promote a resting time that is going to lay down the increases in temperature when you dilute the rum and when you are rectifying the rum before bottling, because the dilution of rum using water is an exothermical reaction that is going to increase the temperature. So these unbalanced conditions after the dilution of the rum or the rectification of the rum is most of the time control resting your rum in tanks, in big tanks for a particular time, depending on each producer, how much time is going to let your rum rest. But charcoal filtration for white rum production is very important, because for white rum production, your rum must be aged for a minimum of 1 year, and there is charcoal filtrated for removal of the color in order to be called rum. So the white rum is an aged rum without color by the charcoal. It's very important because 70% of the rum production in Puerto Rico is white rum for mixing. So let's talk about the Puerto Rico geographical standard. It's not a definition of denomination of origin. It's not a definition of geographical indication. It's not a definition denomination of country as a regulated form to control all the production process, but these are standards that is going to give the essence of the Puerto Rican rum. Why? Because when the Puerto Rico Commonwealth was established in 1954, the government of the island, created the Puerto Rican Rum Company. The Puerto Rican Rum Company had a particular mission to guarantee that all the rums produced on the island follow very strict standards to guarantee quality. And the quality is not just to put a seal on the back of your label. It's more than a mark. It's a story of passion. I mean, the historic processes following the conquer by the Spanish crown, the Spain-American War, the prohibition, and then all the historical event that happens later. It means passion, it means quality, it means more important, very pride. Puerto Rican people is very pride, or the pride is very high. They are very proud about the rum that they produce, and they are very engaged with the seal that your rum is authentically Puerto Rican produced. So what it means? What it means that if you want to claim that your rum is rum of Puerto Rico or Puerto Rican rum, your rum must be produced from molasses. The rum base and the most important ingredient is molasses, which is later fermented under the Puerto Rican rum standards of quality. It must be distilled using the high technology process to assure the purest and lightest rum. It must be aged for a minimum of 1 year in oak containers in oak barrels. It's very important. And the aging process must happen inside the island. In the 100 by 35 miles that the island has in length and width, okay? We can also include the minor island of the Puerto Rico, which are Vieques and Culebra, which are part of the country. Even Isla de Mono in the border with the Dominican Republic, but it's in Iberere.
Yeah, American oak and French oak too, or just American? The oak.
Oak. No matter what, it's American, European, French, Slovenian, Spain, is oak.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And the production, the rum production must be in the island. And in order to assure that every batch meets the high quality standard. So molasses, distillation, aging, and production, 4 standards that must follow all the producers in Puerto Rico in order to guarantee that this seal is going to be in your label, to guarantee the rum of Puerto Rico standards, geographical standards.
But so the cane is no longer Puerto Rican, right?
Oh, sorry?
The cane, the sugar cane, it's no longer from Puerto Rico.
No, the sugarcane is no longer produced in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico right now, the rum production, the whole rum production is made using imported molasses, imported honeys, imported virgin honeys, imported high-test molasses, or imported black extract molasses. Because in Puerto Rico... Sorry?
The alcohol is not imported, just the product.
No, just the raw material. The alcohol must be distilled in Puerto Rico. Okay. In Puerto Rico, some producers can import alcohol from other countries, but if you are using an imported rum in your blend, you can not claim the Puerto Rican rum geographical standard. In fact, I can tell you, some producers are imported rum right now from Dominican Republic, unaged and aged rum, and they are using these raw materials in the blending, but they cannot claim the Puerto Rican standard of identity. So the only raw material that can be imported right now is the molasses, because Puerto Rico does not producing right now sugarcane. Once again, only small producers, but very artisanal way, very small area, and no more than, let me tell you, 100 acres of sugarcane for a particular producer. So it is not the extension of sugarcane that a bigger producer must have in order to guarantee its own supply of molasses or honeys. And that's why, for example, Bacardi has a ship that is rounding the world buying molasses in different countries. Serrayes also imports molasses from different countries, mainly in the Caribbean and Central America. Caribbean distillers is also importing molasses from Dominican Republic. So this is the agreement. You can import only molasses, but fermentation, distillation, aging, bottling must be made on the island to claim the denomination of origin. The geographical standard of identity. So what is mean rum right now? Rum is a trilogy of flavor, and I am giving you the path right now. I am preparing you in order to begin the tasting session, because, well, Puerto Rican rum is defined by its character as a light rum. Most of the producers use continuous distillation process, multiple column distillation, to produce the base rum, light rum with a low concentration of congeners, no more than 100 ppm. So this is made in order to guarantee that the result is going to be a perfect blend. So you have a canvas. You have a canvas, and your light rum is going to be your primary color in order to start painting. But you are also producing heavy rums using column, single column, or maybe a pop fill in order to have a more complex profile in your heavy rum. And this heavy rum is going to be also used as a secondary color, or you can blend light rum with heavy rum before barreling and to produce a medium rum and to put into the barrel in order to have a medium aged rum. So you can also have light rum, medium rum, or heavy rum aged separately and then blend after the barreling. So the master blender or el maestro ronero is going to have the final decision in order how are you going to make your blend. Most of the rums produced in the island are blends. The blending is the key factor of the Puerto Rican style rum. You are going to blend light rum, medium rum, heavy rum before barreling or after barreling to produce your perfect blend. So the Puerto Rican rum production is based on blending young and light rums for continuous distillation with medium and heavy older rums from batch production in order to give this canvas the consistency, the complexity, the intensity, and deepness in order to conquer the palate of the consumer. The particular advantage given by aging define the profiles in order to produce a very benign liquid for mixing in cocktails. I repeat, 70% of the rum production in Puerto Rico is mostly used for mixing in cocktails. Mojito, Cuba Libre, Piña Colada, daiquiris. 30% is premium, ultra premium, premium, super premium, and ultra premium aged rum with more than 5 years old. The rum has three main flavors: sweet, bitters, and citrus. Everything that is aged following a tasting technique has an acidic lingering profile. It's going to be a little bit sweet because of the influence of the sugarcane, which is the mother of the rum, and it's bitter because of the influence of the wood in the aging process. And that's why rum is defined as in the universe, I mean, in the whole world, is universal in flavors, and it's a trilogy of contrast to be enjoyed very happy. Well, any question, Luigi? And the audience, any questions before we can enjoy the tasting session?
No questions in the chat.
Okay. Well, everybody is prepared with the recommended rum samples in order to start the tasting. Well, let's start with Don Q Reserva 7. I chose 2 different rums from 2 different companies with the highest tradition in the island producing rums. I mean, Distillería Serralles is producing rum since 1865. And Bacardi is producing rum in the island since 1950. Bacardi is not a Puerto Rican brand, but right now Bacardi is the owner of the biggest rum distillery in America, the Cathedral, which is in San Juan. Destillería Serralles has these operations in the south side of the island in Ponce. Bacardi is in the north side of the island, is influenced by the Atlantic Ocean. Serrayes, let me show you. Bacardi is located in the north side of the island in San Juan. Bacardi, the influence of the fermentation, distillation, and aging process is made by the breeze and the temperature and the relative humidity of the Atlantic Ocean in the north part of the island. Distillería Serrayes is located in the south side of the island, and the influence is by the Caribbean Sea. But you are going to ask me, oh, there is any difference between the two microclimates that each distillery has? Yes, the difference is very big, because the Caribbean Sea is warmer, and the breeze, the water is warmer, and the breeze is also warmer than the Atlantic Ocean. And the salinity of the Caribbean Sea is higher than the Atlantic Ocean. So the influence are a very key differentiation factors in the rum production. So each product is going to have a particular profile, and each of them are going to be different, considering they are pretty near in the aging process. One is aged minimal 7 years, and the other is minimal 8 years. So let's start with the Don Q Reserva 7. Don Q Reserva 7 is a molasses-based rum. It's fermented in batch fermentation, using batch fermentation process, and it's distilled in using two different processes. A multiple column distillation system for the light rum production, and medium and heavy rums produced using single copper distillation. These rums are blended before barreling, and they are blended after barreling. So Distillería Serrayes can use both of the systems. And the formula of Don Q Reserva 7 is a blend of rum aged for a minimum of 7 years in American white oak ex-bourbon barrel. It's pretty unique. They are using American white oak ex-bourbon barrel. What it means minimum of 7 years in the blend. According with the federal regulation, when you want to claim the age of your rum in the label, the age must be guide or must follow the age of the youngest part blend of your formula. In this case, the youngest ingredient of Don Q Reserva 7 is a 7 years old rum. So let's start. I have my Glencairn glass with this liquid. Let's evaluate in color. Well, it's a beautiful amber color with golden hues. It's brilliant, no suspended solids, pretty clear, pristine, elegant. And when you stir it gentle, you're going to you can see through the light not only tears or legs. If you put the liquid through the light, you can see a particular green reflection on the border of the liquid. It means we have here heavy rums. Heavy rums aged for a minimum of 7 years, which is a very important differentiation factors when you are producing a rum, because these particular medium and heavy rums, specifically the heavy rums, produced in a single copper distillation, are going to give us a particular profile. Well, It's oily. You have tears. You have beautiful tears that are going down very slowly. It means density. It means aging. It means wood solids that are dissolved in the rum that is going to increasing the viscosity, the density, and the surface tension of the liquid inside of the glass. So it's beautiful. It invites you to enjoy it. Let's try on the nose. Okay. It has an elegant entrance. The alcoholic punch is not overwhelming your nose. Remember, when you are trying, when we are tasting, you are not to introduce your nose inside of the glass. It's just up and down, very gently, in order to let the nose to adapt to the alcohol concentration. So the first impression is refined notes of oak wood. Definitely, we have here wood note, oaky note. Behind the oaky, we have dark caramel, dark honey. When you are preparing flan, when you put sugar and water on the oven, on the kitchen, sorry, and you prepare caramel, black caramel, brown caramel to prepare a flan as a dessert. So you can find this aroma just lingering in the top of the liquid. Following the dark caramel, you have spices, baking spices, vanilla, cinnamon, and a little bit of nutmeg. Remember, we are blending rums with a minimum of 7 years. It means a lot of transition from an aged rum to a very aged rum. During these 7 years, a lot of chemical reaction has happened, a lot of chemical transformation for evaporation, subtractive aging, for oxidation when the air gets into the barrel and induce the chemical reaction of esterification, which is mean the transformation of alcohol or the reaction between alcohol and carboxylic acid and transforms into esters. And the esters are the precursor of the aroma that we are enjoying right now. This long aging time is going to guide us onto notes of chocolate, dark chocolate, toasted almonds, raisins, and apricot. Anybody else can find something different?
Jaiker, they're asking here, Mirza Quintana is asking, is it 40%?
Yes, this is 40%, 80 proof. Okay, let's go to the taste and cheers, salud. Okay, let's go in two ways. Let's going to take a sip, a very small first sip, in order to adapt your mouth, your palate to the rum, okay? You can move all the liquid into the cavity and prepare your mouth for a second sip. This second sip is going to give us the real expression of our rum. Let's try again. Okay, as a first impression, this rum is radiant, definitely. It's going to be elegant. It's going to be vibrant in your mouth with a sweet entry. This sweet entry reminds you caramel, and definitely the caramel is a descriptor, is a primary descriptor of any rum produced from sugarcane and aged in oak barrels. It's like a mark in your DNA. The sweet entry reminds you caramel is definitely rum. And in this case, it's an elegant caramel. It's an elegant sweet entry. It's not sweet. It's a reminiscent note of sweetness because this rum does not contain sugar added. I can guarantee you, as a master blender of this rum, in fact, this blend is one of my boys, is one of my kids. It was the last project that I developed for Casa Don Q. Don Q Reserva 7 was made following to not to add sugar, just to give the consumer the real impression of the natural caramelization process happening inside the barrel when you are charring the barrel when the barrel is constructed. So the minimal quantity of sugar is given by the liquid only for the barrel. And this concentration of sugar is only 3 grams per liter of liquid. Okay, it's natural saccharification, natural caramelization that's happening inside the barrel. All the sugar that the wood contains are broken down using fire, and these cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignins are transformed into sugar, and the alcohol is going to react with the sugar, with these broken sugars, in order to give the rum this sensation of sweetness. It's bitter. It's bitter because it has tannins and wood solids dissolved in the liquid, and it's going to give you some astringency, but it's also giving you warm notes of toasted oak, charred oak, caramelized fruit, I mean tropical fruit, like banana, caramelized banana, and caramelized pineapple, some chocolate, and a little bit of dark honey. Anybody else can contribute with the tasting session? Any addition? Any particular note that you are feeling in the palate? Okay, the aftertaste. The aftertaste is important when you are evaluating a particular rum. It means you are going to take air through your mouth and expels the air through the nose. What can you find in your aftertaste? It's consistent with the palate evaluation because I can find wood, I can find chocolate, and I can find the honey, the sweetness of the honey when I take a breath and expel by the nose. So when a rum is consistent, it means that the tasting in the palate equals or is very similar with the aftertaste. And also if the rum takes a long time to disappear in your mouth. In this case, Reserva 7 is a rum with a strong character, with a strong body. When you are not losing your feelings in the mouth quickly, it remains longer, and it means premium quality. Okay?
Jaiker, there's another question by
Okay.
Mirza.
Okay.
Do the Puerto Rican standards allow for a percentage of aggregates?
Okay, yes, it is allowed. It depends of the producer to introduce macerations of fruits using rum, but the maceration must be made with your rum, not with other imported rum. You can distill your rum. You can have your own age alcohol. Most of them using light rums, very, very neutral alcohol. And you can infuse or macerate fruits, raisins, plums, dry raisins, dry plums, most of them. And also macerate some oak chips with the fruits in order to give flavors, woody flavors and character. But there is a very important part. No more than 2.5% of the total formula. So you cannot exceed 2.5% of your volume liquid in the maceration aggregate. You can use sugar. You can use caramel. But remember, the caramel for adjusting and to control and to guarantee a standard of color, not to give color to the rum, because by definition, your rum is gonna gain color, natural color from the barrel if your rum is aged for a minimal of 1 year. So if you are using caramel, it's not to give a fake sensation of aging. It's just to adjust the color as a quality variable that you must declare in your quality control manual. You can also use sugar, but it depends to you. It depends if you want to round the flavor of your rum, if you want to give a mellow sensation. It depends of the producer. Some producer use sugar, some producer does not using sugar right now. Some producers are using caramel, some producers are not using caramel. Because some producers are using very old rums, in a particular concentration to the formula into the blend in order to adjust the color naturally with an older ingredient, not with caramel.
Jaiker,
Okay.
a couple of questions. Mirza says, spices and oak chips as a question. Then Yelitza also asks, and glycerin.
Okay. The first question. Puerto Rico produce spice rum. Yes. When you are producing spice rums, it's a type of rum when the spices are allowed to be introduced in your formula. And that's what I told you. You can prepare macerations of spices. Most of them are vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove, because these baking spices are typically developed inside the natural aging process. So when you are going to produce a spice rum, you want to enhance the natural notes that the barrel is going to give the rum in a natural oxidation way. In my case, I can tell you for the Don Q spice, oak barrel spice rum, the natural maceration of vanilla, nutmeg, clove, and cinnamon are real, using our rum with a light rum that is distilled in the multiple column system. There is also a couple of typical fruits of the island, but I cannot tell you which fruits are because it's a trade secret. Even I am not working with Sarayas, I can tell you anymore. But two typical fruit of the island, very, very unique, and these are the precursors of the profile of the Don Q oak barrel spice. Bacardi also has oak spice rums. Caribbean distillers also has spice rum, and most of them typically are using natural maceration and infusion of baking spices. And please, Luigi, the question of Yelixa.
She asks, and glycerin.
Oh, glycerin. No. Yelixa, greetings from for you. No, glycerin is not allowed in the process. You can use liquid sucrose or liquid fructose, but not glycerin, because glycerin is a fake. When you are introducing glycerin in your formulation, you are increasing the viscosity and density of your rum in an artificial way, and it's going to give the consumer the sensation of your rum is well aged, which is not true. It's a fake, because the glycerin is very viscous. So glycerin is not allowed. You can use once again liquid fructose or liquid glucose. Okay, let's move to the other rum. Here we have Bacardi Reserva 8. Bacardi Reserva 8, once again, is a molasses-based rum. Let me show you something very important. Okay. Can you see the seal of Puerto Rican rum in the back label of Don Q Reserva 7? They can claim the geographical standards because they are following molasses, distillation, aging, and production in Puerto Rico. And also, Bacardi 8 has the seal of Puerto Rican rum in the back label. So they are following the rum standards too. So Bacardi Reserva 8 is a molasses-based rum. It's a blend of rum aged for a minimum of 8 years in American white oak barrels, ex-bourbon barrels. I visited the cathedral in Puerto Rico, and I can tell you that they have multiple column distillation for the light rum production, and they also produce heavy rum o aguardiente de primera columna, first column heavy rum in a single distillation. There is a differentiation point between Bacardi and Serrayes. The heavy rum produced from the single distillation in Serrayes is a copper still. It's a column made from copper, which is very, very old. This column is operated since 1935. It's very, very old. It was made by Vendome. Copper Brass is a very important copper shop in the United States, specialized in producing pot stills and columns. The heavy rum that is produced in the single distillation process in Bacardi, the column is made in stainless steel. The influence of the copper in the rum distillation is very important, because the copper is going to promote a lot of reactions to separate or to eliminate the sulfur compounds which the molasses used to have, the mercaptan. The copper reacts with the sulfur compounds and is going to separate these particular elements, giving the rum a very smooth and more mellow and not rubber like burn rubber, caucho quemado, break pack is a off note of the rum. So the copper is giving you the advantage of separate this particular notes component. So there is a particular difference between Bacardi and Serrayes in the production of the heavy rum. More than that, I cannot tell you nothing. because I don't have the details in the Bacardi from only very brief and very surfer observation of the process. But the key differentiation factor is real. The light round distilled in the multiple column is pretty similar. Very light, very neutral. This is developed to be the base rum of your blend. Okay, let's go to the glass. In color, very similar. We have an beautiful amber color with golden hues. Through the light, you can see the green halo on the top of the liquid. It means you are using aged heavy rums. Beautiful legs, beautiful tears. They are going down very slowly. Once again, it's pretty similar. The liquid is oily. It means aging, means density, it means viscosity. It means that your liquid is following the real aging, not putting some chips like a tea preparation in a pot. No, you are using real barrels. So it's a beautiful, beautiful and elegant, radiant color. Let's go to the nose. Once again, pretty similar entrance to the nose. It's very elegant, is radiant. It means, it reminds me wood, elegant wood, char wood, toasted caramel. Here I can find nutmeg, apricot, and butterscotch. It's a differentiation with the Reserva 7 when we have toasted almond, chocolate, and raisin. Here I can find butterscotch. So I guess they are using, I don't know, different treatment of the barrel. I don't know if they are recharring the barrel, bourbon barrels. I don't know if they are introducing a different type of American white oak using not only bourbon but American whiskey when the concentration of corn or rye can be different, or they are introducing some wheat in the bourbon mash bill. But definitely these are not the same barrels that Bacardi, that Serrayes is using in the production of Reserva 7, because there are differences in the nose notes that we can define. But they are similar in the overall profile. It's a light rum, blend with heavy rums with a more complex and more aromatic profile. Let's try in the mouth. Cheers again. The first sip to wash your mouth and to clean the previous spirit, and then the real one. It's vibrant. You can find a little bit more alcoholic sensation in your mouth. Why? It's important. There is another differentiation point between Bacardi and Serrayes. Bacardi used to age their rums up to, it's unbelievable, but it's real, up to 170 proof. What it means? 85% of alcohol by volume, the light rum. Serrayes up to 65%, 130 proof. And this is real, believe me. Bacardi used to age their rums at higher concentration of alcohol. So what it means, sensorily speaking, there is an influence of the proof or the alcohol concentration that you put your rum into the barrel, because higher the rum in alcohol concentration is like acting as a solvent. It's not aging, it's not reacting, it's not oxidizing, but it's also extracting very aggressively the tannins of the wood, and the oxidation reactions are going to be running at a higher speed because the concentration of alcohol is like a catalyzer in the oxidation reaction in the agent. So you can find it in the mouth. The alcoholic sensation is higher than the previous one. But it's sweet. The entry sweetness remind me caramel, flan caramel, subtle cinnamon, bacon spices is very similar to the previous one, and the smokiness of the wood that is surrounding of the mouth. I'm guessing, considering that there is a little sensation of the smokiness, that this rum is aged in recharge barrel. I am guessing, I don't know, but I am guessing just because the expression of the smokiness at the end of the sensory in the palate. Anyone else can find a different tasting note? Or any question? But resuming, what can I find here? We are evaluating two different rums from two different producers following the same standards, geographical indication standard of a Puerto Rican rum or rum de Puerto Rico must follow in order to have the seal of quality, but they have similarities, but they have different. And this is the beauty of the rum production. This is the fun of the rum production. This is the magic that is happening when you are producing rum. This magic begins in the molasses treatment when you are introducing, when you are diluting, and when you are inoculating the yeast into the fermenter. If the magic is happening in the distillation process, the magic is happening mostly inside the barrel, and the magic is happening when the master blender is trying into the lab how many milliliters of this particular part blend and how many milliliters of this particular blend are gonna be together in order to guarantee the perfect blend. So at the end of the time, this is a pretty beautiful, and this is my definition of what a rum is. To produce rum is the most beautiful combination between art and science, because it's the art of the artist, it's the inspiration of the muse, it's the inspiration of the master blender, but it's the science behind all the operation units that we are following in the process in order to transform the beautiful molasses into alcohol, and then the alcohol is going to be transformed inside a small reactor, which is the barrel, into rum. And everything is chemistry, and the chemistry is very beautiful. So thank you so much, and rum is fun.
Rum is fun, my friend. Rum is fun.
Rum is fun.
Definitely. Well, if we have questions, let's make the Q&A final approach.
Thank you, thank you. So no, before I had a question, but I think you then explained it well on the when presenting about the stamp for rum of Puerto Rico aged, because I wanted to ask specifically about San Juan artisan distillers, for example, that they use sugarcane juice, they don't use molasses, and they have unaged rums. So that just means that they don't get the stamp of rum of Puerto Rico, but they can still produce rum and they can still produce very high quality rums. It's just that it will not be approved by Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, they are inside of the Puerto Rico Commerce Chamber. They are members of the Puerto Rico Company of Rum, but they don't claim the seal of quality in the back label because they are rum made in Puerto Rico, which is different of Puerto Rican rum.
Got it.
In fact, I can tell you a little bit. Bacardi Blanco. Bacardi Blanco is not a Puerto Rican rum. Bacardi Blanco is a rum made in Puerto Rico.
Well, and made in Mexico and India and other places, right?
Yes, every place, everywhere. But most importantly, the rum that they are producing is less than 1 year old. The base rum in the blend is less than 1 year old. So that's why Bacardi Silver, Bacardi Blanco, has a very particular profile. This is still in Puerto Rico. Part of them are aged in Puerto Rico, part of them are aged in Mexico, part of them are aged in Brazil, part of them are aged in Bermuda. It is produced everywhere. But Bacardi Blanco is not a Puerto Rican rum. This is a Puerto Rican.
Product of Puerto Rico. Pero no tiene.
En la parte de atrás, in the back label.
Okay.
The seal of quality is in the back label.
No, but this one doesn't have it.
Oh, interesting. It's a product of Puerto Rico. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not a Puerto Rican rum. So it means it has maybe rums aged in Mexico. Maybe. I don't know. It is different. It's interesting because this rum.
Bien, aquí de clases.
So it's
Yeah, I can see the label.
okay. Interesting.
Entienda.
What it means, depending on the geographical point of distribution, maybe your formula is changing. I don't know. Can you see if the rum is bottled in Jacksonville?
It says hecho en Puerto Rico.
No, the back label. Bottled in Jacksonville or bottled in Puerto Rico?
It says produced by Bacardi Puerto Rico, Catano, but it doesn't say bottle. It says product of Puerto Rico, but it doesn't say about bottling.
Well, I'm guessing, definitely. Maybe it's an old label, or maybe this blend has rums aged in other countries.
Right.
I can guarantee you.
So Jaiker, Ramon Almao is asking, where does the molasses come from?
Hey, Ramon. Hi. Well, depending on the producer, most of the molasses come from Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, and everywhere where molasses is available.
I had another question about the rum capital of the world. Is that a self-imposed advertising tagline, or is it really the rum capital of the world?
It was an advertisement campaign most oriented to the US market, because definitely Puerto Rico is the rum capital, of the world in the U.S. market. The volume of rums that Puerto Rico is producing to be exported to United States continental USA is amazing. So definitely Puerto Rico is the rum capital.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Mira, tengo una pregunta aquí. Pedro Perales. Which brands produce breads and rums with pot stills? Well, the only company that is producing rum from pot still is Rompepon, San Juan Artisan Distillers. How many rum brands are there currently in Puerto Rico? More than 13. And more than 13 because we need to consider their local brands, but there are 9 distillers. Does Bacardi rum bottled in Florida have the rum of Puerto Rico certification of origin, or will it lose it? Definitely the rum bottled in Florida does not have the rum of Puerto Rico certification of origin, because it's not following one of the standards that the rum must be produced in the island. Okay. Any other question por ahí? Or any other question?
Bueno.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation, Antonio and Luigi. I enjoy so much to be part of this masterclass. As I told you before at the beginning, the education for me is so important, and it's gonna give us the tool to lay down all the barriers, all the myths, on all the stories, but most of them bad stories about our rum. So thank you so much.
No, thank you, Jaiker. At least I learned a lot today, and it kind of, with the tasting, it was a great experience. So thank you very much. And if there's no more questions, then
sorry, I have a little point, a little after session explanation, because you tried Don Q Gran Añejo XO.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you, this is different of the Reserva 7. Don Q Gran Reserva XO is an ultra premium rum. Why? Because the blend is older. Don Q XO is a blend of rum from 9 to 12 years old in American white oak barrel. But there is a key ingredient, a secret ingredient, which is a rum aged for a long, long time in ex-sherry casks in a Solera system, and the Solera was installed in 1950. So the rum is more than 65 years old.
Wow.
And believe me, it's real old, because it's not gold, it's not amber, it's not dark amber. Really, it's black. It's black.
Awesome.
Just ask Fede. Hey, what about the Solera rum? It's sticky, it's black, it's viscous, it's harsh, it's tannic, but in a concentration, just 3 or 4 drops in the formula, it's the explosion.
Wow. So yeah, we definitely had that one. Lucky.
So final closing point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
No,
Cheers.
salud.
Well, round is one. Salud.
Pura vida, pura vida.
Pura vida, diría Pedro.